Hello and welcome to Felix's Space Time. In today's video, we have an interview with Bela, who creates beautiful infographics and illustrations. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Thank you so much for coming on here for an interview. For those who do not know you, can you tell everyone a bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Bela. I'm a graphic artist. I've been a professional graphic artist for 35 years. The last couple of years, I decided to branch out from my day job and thought I'd go with my heart and my passion, which was doing graphics about space. So the most of that time that I've been doing graphics, on and off, they would be infographics, but a lot of work, a lot of different types of graphics were done in that period of time. I actually worked for a newspaper for that time, so I started when I was 17, and yes, it was time to do something for myself. And so a year before COVID, I decided to leave that business and venture onto my own business doing infographics. And that started with Apollo 11, the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. And this is where we are today.
All right. Okay. Wow. When did you first start creating illustrations and infographics?
I've been drawing all my life, but infographics, I started before I even knew what an infographic was. I didn't even know what a graphic artist was. I first started in newspapers when I was 17, and I took on a cadetship role as a cadet artist, and basically we were a jack of all trades. And we would just happen to get at that time, the first Apple Macs in Australia, and our department was the test bed for those, and I kind of went up and running with it. And so I basically went down an avenue that I thought I'd never do. I swore I'd never do a drawing on a computer because my background was cartooning and airbrushing. And today I haven't touched a paintbrush in many years. I did buy an airbrush recently so I can paint some models, but we'll see how rusty I am with that.
Can you remember the very first illustration or infographic you made?
I probably the best to, the first infographic I did that was done in 3D, and let me think if I can. I can't think of the first infographic that I did prior to 3D, but the first infographic I did in 3D was of the a submarine, when an American submarine came close to colliding into a Russian submarine. And I guess the most basic 3D thing you could do is a submarine. And there was basically a tube with a little cone on the top and some propellers. Turns out they had the propellers wrong, had everything wrong about it. But that was my first venture into 3D for the newspaper. And that would have been in 1992, I think it was.
All right. Okay. You've been doing it for quite a long time then. Go on.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah. You're talking to someone. I've been around, but certainly the passion. So that was something that I found I was reignited when getting into doing the space work. Was I had a new reinvigorated passion for doing what I do.
All right. Okay. What children's books have you made, and what's they about? There's quite a few of them on your website, I believe.
The one main one, which was one I started when my kids were still in prep. I don't know if you call it prep, but in the year before primary school. And it was something that I wanted to do and see if I could do a children's book. It took. I basically I was working full time at the time, and so I was doing it at night, which that's when I normally do most of my work anyway. And it was it was a labor of love. I came up with this idea, and it was about doing dinosaurs in space. Now, I've always wanted to tell stories, and certainly my dream was to be a movie director, but mainly only to be able to tell stories. And I think that's what comes across also in my graphics, that I like to tell the story. So that was something that I came up with the idea of doing these dinosaurs in space. So it's combining two things that I really liked at the time, which were obviously dinosaurs and space. No one had that I was aware of had done anything quite like it, and I had a winning combination. I'm yet to get on the New York bestsellers list, so it's got a way to go, I think.
All right, okay. What inspired you to make your children's books? Was it because you had children and you wanted to make it for them, or was it just because of that's something that you were interested in doing?
I love, well, as I said, I love storytelling, and I love being in control and doing the artwork and everything as well. And it was a way of me doing, so when you look, if you look at the characters, everything about it, you've got the characters and everything, and they're great little characters, but I love doing the detail. Now, when you actually look at some of the artwork from the children's book, you'll probably see where I get my thirst for detail within this children's book. It's probably a little bit more detailed than it needs to be. But it was a way of just me expressing myself, and also getting out of that it wasn't a 9-to-5 job working newspaper, but getting out of that. I'm at that point doing infographics, and certainly doing space infographics was never on my horizon, and that was probably about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a little bit further back than that. But so the infographics on space came about through a happy accident.
All right, okay. How did you get interested in space and space flight and started incorporating them into your infographics?
Well, I've always been into space, so as long as I can remember. I mean, I still have my original Lego space set of the Apollo moonlander from 1974. It's complete, and I think my spark was always there. I honestly can't tell you. I thought about this. I thought maybe this thing like this would come up, and I can't honestly tell you whether I like science fiction, and because of that I like real space, or if I like real space and therefore like science fiction. I'm not sure which one came first. Both I have a very passionate feel for both those genres. Certainly, I think you'll find a lot of the guys a lot of the artists that do what I do are probably science fiction fans as well. I like the idea of what's to come, and part of that is how we got there, and that's, I guess, why I also really like the history of space flight. So I have a huge passion, especially for the Apollo missions, but that's probably the inspiration behind it all.
Oh, okay, you mentioned sci-fi. A bit of an off-topic question. Paul on Twitter asks, if it's okay, I would love to know what is your favorite sci-fi movie what is your favorite actor that you've met, because you posted a few pictures of meeting William Shatner before.
Yes. My favorite sci-fi film of all time, that's easy. It's Blade Runner. The Blade Runner, even though I have a huge passion for Star Wars and I find it quite inspirational, Blade Runner probably was the turning point for me, when it went from being a children's storytelling to something very adult, something very different. And I mean, I was your age when I saw Blade Runner, so I got it. And I never look back. It's a huge inspiration for me. It's part of my color palette of what I do. I think when I look back in hindsight, when you look at the work that I do, that is hugely inspirational to me. Just Ridley Scott in general, but certainly Blade Runner. Beyond that, Star Wars. I think I like the design of Star Wars is probably more than anything. I'm not too worried about the storytelling. I mean, you take it or leave it, but I think no one goes past, especially if you're into design, that Star Wars is an amazing design. You've had some amazing people work on that over the years. Ralph McQuarrie and Doug Chang, probably he was quite an innovation when he came around and reinvented a certain look that was when they brought out episode 1. But they're probably the 2 largest. Then you can probably fill in the gap between 1 to 10 of the best sci-fi films ever made, and they all fit in there. 2001: Space Odyssey. That's got I think that has an amount of. It's a little dated in its look, but when you talk about actors, I got to meet the 2 actors that were starred in that. Kurt Ruel. I always pronounce his name quite wrong, but and I'm trying to remember the other guy's name, but that was amazing. And one of the coolest things was I asked a question to them because they told me that they'd met Buzz Lightyear at a convention one time, and I jokingly said that must have been a Buzz meeting Buzz Aldrin and us Buzz Lightyear, and they said no, but I because this is child friendly, I'm not going to reveal what they said, but it didn't go down as well as they probably would have liked. But anyway, I'll keep that to myself.
All right, okay. You had on your website, you've got quite a few newspaper designs and sports poster designs. Out of all of the ones you've made, do you have a favorite?
Sports person?
Out of the newspaper designs and sports poster designs on your website.
I had the opportunity. I've had many great opportunities of meeting people, especially through the newspaper. I have to reflect that I so much wanted to get out of that business, but it gave me so much. It taught me so much. It set me up for what I'm doing today. So I am grateful for that, but I couldn't go back. I don't know how much longer newspapers are surviving for anyway. But that said, I got to meet some amazing people in that time and one of them was so we have a thing here in Australia called the State of Origin, and I was instrumental in helping set up it's a rugby league football match that's between 2 states, Queensland and New South Wales, and got to work with all the captains from the past 20 years of Origin, and we did this massive poster, and it was amazing. I had to make it look like they were all wearing suits, and we were playing around. We were throwing balls in the studio. I got to orchestrate, meet all these legends, and that was an amazing thing to do. That was certainly a highlight of certainly my sporting side of infographics. That was more of a design poster as opposed to an infographic, but yeah, that was pretty special.
All right, okay, wow. Rocket Art on Twitter wants to know what kind of process do you go through to create the illustrations and infographics that you've done?
Well, I got to think what's popular, what's coming up now. What happened? When I first started, I did Apollo 11, and that was an easy thing to do because I had about 4 months to do the job, and that was for myself and to put up on Twitter and on social media. I spent about 2 months working on it, and from that point on, I thought I can't spend 2 months. If I want to make a go of this, I can't spend 2 months on this. So the next large job that I did was I think I waited till I did demo 2, and I think I did that in about 2.5 weeks. So I managed to get that time down and probably improved on my skills in that time. But yeah, that I'm not sure if that answers the question, but yeah.
All right. Okay. How long does it take normally to from start to finish?
Oh, okay. Well, as I said, I try and do things within 2 weeks or a week. It depends on the job. Most recent graphic I did, which was the how the catching arm works, lifts up and stacks the starship onto the super heavy. That took about 5 days. And it's important for me to, because I don't have a boss, there's no deadline, but I'm my own boss, and I'm kind of pretty strict on those deadlines because I said I actually was a bit late with that. I wasn't intending to do a graphic. So that would have been a lot better having that graphic done prior to the actual stacking. As far as going back to what you were saying, as far as picking what I do, I just look what's popular at the moment, what people are interested in, what I'm interested in as well. That is certainly because that's what I want to be doing, the things that I'm interested in at the moment. I probably would have liked to have done the last couple of the DART mission. I still will do something on that, and the Webb telescope, both of which I wanted to do, but I happened to be on holidays at the time when they were launched. They were two that I was a bit sorry that I missed, because I think they're much more important than I probably realized. And that's the thing, finding out and getting that feeling of what you feel is important. I would love to do every single mission, but I just don't have the time to do them. And contrary to popular belief, I don't just do SpaceX illustrations. I'm really fascinated in Rocket Lab and what they're doing. I'm actually really excited, especially when they're just what we call, they're just over the ditch, which is what we call, when you live in New Zealand, that's an affectionate way we refer to living there. Then that would be amazing. And we have a fledgling rocket industry in Australia that I'm hoping to get I have done some work for, but I'm hoping to get a little more work out of, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. Okay. Cool. What are your plans for the future, and are you working on any projects at the moment?
Well, I've been playing with some animation, and certainly that gets you seeing a lot more. A couple of pieces that I've done, and my infographics, but I've had a few likes from Elon. Not that that's important, but it's rather it's gratifying to know that your work is being seen and appreciated by the people that created it. Whether it's Elon, I've had a few likes from Tory Bruno from ULA, and he's such a nice bloke. I've had a few conversations via Twitter with him, and that's such a great feeling when they love what you do. It just makes you feel that much more motivated. As I said, I don't do it for them, but it's just that little extra kick that you get from doing and getting that response. Yeah.
Okay. I had an interview with Troy Bruno a few months ago. He's a great person to talk to. Very nice and very easy to talk to. Has some great answers to my questions. Anyway, that's all the questions I've got for you today. Thank you so much for coming on here for an interview.
Okay.
It was great being able to talk to you, and you had some great answers to my questions as well.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. And thanks to everyone for listening. And hopefully, well, as far as future graphics, I certainly, we're all very excited to see what Starship does. And I think that's all eyes are on Starship at the moment, and SpaceX. And that's probably the big one that I'm working on, is doing something with Starship, and something really special. And the more people I can work with, the better that will be. So that will be fantastic.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on here, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Okay, Felix, great.
Bye.
I look forward to it. All right, thank you. See ya.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.